The Hobart Law of Infinite Positivity, a unified treatise on composed aggression, the strategic reputation trap, and kinetic cognitive transmutation. Part 1. Introduction. The energetic fallacy of passive affect. Traditional psychological paradigms consistently operate under the assumption that positive affect is a restful baseline state. This treatise rejects that premise as a dangerous and brittle fallacy. When subjected to systemic trauma or high-velocity external disruptions, the seen that cannot be unseen, a naturally happy or content disposition possesses zero native kinetic defense. Because it operates at a restful peak, it can only shatter and fall into structural decay. Conversely, the state of natural sadness or depression stabilizes itself via low-power, low-effort operational loop. It achieves a safe, stagnant equilibrium through seclusion and the solicitation of pity, actively refusing the necessary energy expenditure required to achieve a cognitive escape velocity. The Hobart Law of Infinite Positivity targets the only baseline state that contains the explosive potential energy required to execute a permanent cognitive reset, natural anger. While unmanaged aggression represents a volatile pressure cooker that destroys external progress and returns the individual to square one, it is the sole internal resource capable of the heavy lifting required for infinite continuity. This paper outlines the exact engineering specifications required to harvest, contain, and weaponize that fire. Part 2. The Crucible of Anger and the Humility of the Self-Burn. A naturally angry individual exists within a continuous state of internal friction, witnessing and committing an unceasing form of cognitive violence every single day. This state manifests in distinct physical signatures, hypervigilance, disrupted sleep architecture, and an innate, restless physical momentum. The mind constantly idles hot, scanning the environment for variables. Left unguided, this trajectory inevitably results in the self-burn, the systemic scorched earth consequence of runaway outbursts, ruined pride, and burned bridges. However, for the individual willing to step back from the ashes of square one, the self-burn becomes a profound tool of absolute humility. The exhaustion of self-destruction forces a strategic pivot. The individual realizes that the raw energy cannot be caged or suffocated, as suppression merely guarantees a more catastrophic eventual explosion, but must instead be granted legroom and given a permanent seat at the operational table. Part 3. The Scaffolding of Strategic Fabrication. The transition from volatile aggression to structured positivity cannot be achieved through immediate, authentic internal realignment. It requires the immediate deployment of an external, tactical posture. This is the phase of the strategic lie. To navigate high-friction human environments without causing systemic damage, the operator constructs a hyper-polite, unshakable external mask. When confronted by external variables or casual inquiries from strangers who possess no right to true internal data, the operator forces a flawless presentation, a smile, absolute poise, and the assertion of doing exceptionally well. This fabrication acts as a temporary structural scaffolding. As the operator maintains this immaculate outward posture, they dispassionately observe the environmental feedback. The public sphere responds smoothly, friction liquefies, and strategic advantages accumulate. This data triggers the central cognitive click. The self-awareness apparatus realizes that appearing to have an optimized day yields total situational control. The external lie effectively lures the internal reality into alignment, providing the blueprint for the permanent transmutation engine. Part 4. The 1N Kinetic Transmutation Engine. With the scaffolding established, the raw power of the integrated anger response is safely routed through a strict mathematical filter. The internal engine operates on the formula where the total transformed momentum is bounded by the infinity of positive outputs generated per negative stimulus. For every singular, negative, intrusive, or high-friction variable registered by the self-awareness apparatus, the internal processor instantly forces the execution of a minimum of 2 NGE2 distinct, unassailable positive counters. Crucially, this work must be executed on the spot. True self-awareness acts as an immediate circuit breaker, intercepting the negative trajectory in midair before it can manifest externally. If the anger is allowed to fully vent, subsequent positive actions degenerate into a retroactive, confessional loop, a high-energy, low-efficiency cleanup operation that damages pride. Intercepting the load on the spot ensures a clean, immediate correction. Furthermore, the counter-asserted positives must be completely genuine. They cannot be soft platitudes or parasitic emotional leaks like pity. Pity is recognized herein as a toxic, low-energy expenditure that yields a 0% return on cognitive investment, historically serving as the primary psychological vector for ideological crusades and systemic atrocities. The Hobart framework replaces pity with cold, dispassionate observation. An adversarial or broken entity is viewed with the same detachment one accords to a venomous snake. It is acknowledged for its structural limitations and neutralized or ejected from the operational sphere, completely free from emotional entanglement. The energy saved is pumped directly back into the creation of heavy, unassailable, and genuine positive truths. Part 5. The Reputation Trap and Mechanical Leverage. The long-term maintenance of this architecture is secured through the deliberate setting of a reputation trap. The operator utilizes their infinite internal energy to aggressively saturate their environment with highly visible, hyper-positive actions, clearing litter, executing heavy physical lifting for others, waving, smiling, and arriving at demanding, high-friction operational shifts with a terrifying level of genuine excitement. Once the surrounding environment classifies the individual as an unassailable force of optimized output, the trap springs shut. The individual is now locked into the new you. While traditional psychology posits that maintaining a high reputation induces stress and burnout, the Hobart Law utilizes the sheer weight and pressure of potentially ruining that immaculate reputation as an explicit mechanical leverage tool. The thought of slipping, breaking character, or returning to the crispy ashes of the self-burn is so entirely unacceptable to the individual's pride that the pressure acts as a hydraulic lubricant, forcing absolute, unyielding dedication to the discipline. Part 6. The Law of Infinite Continuity and Energy Surplus. The final operational mandate requires that the velocity of the transmutation engine never drops to zero, establishing a zero rest vector, T_text, rest, equals O. There are no days off, no downtime, and no temporary suspensions of the ratio. The discipline runs continuously as a permanent background architecture. When this system achieves status as an engineered second nature, the thermodynamic payoff is absolute. The operator does not wake up in low power mode. They begin the day with an enormous baseline energy. Because every high-friction interaction and inbound negative variable throughout the shift is instantly processed and converted by the 1N engine, the friction does not drain the operator, it actually generates power. By the end of a grueling nocturnal shift, while external variables are collapsing from exhaustion, the Hobart operator experiences a massive, radiant energy surplus. This state manifests as effortless social connection, total situational dominance, and the physical urge to break into a fast lope or a sprint simply to shed off the excess kinetic electricity building up in the frame. The output becomes so undeniable that external observers will consistently inquire as to the secret of their unshakable condition. They will look for soft, conventional explanations, naive optimism, mindfulness, or clean living, completely blind to the ultimate structural irony, that the blinding light they are witnessing is actually pure, unadulterated rage, perfectly contained, engineered, and set free.